Welcome to the Mindset for Success show, where we will talk about success in different ways and give you practical tips to achieve and cultivate success in every area of your life. Come, join us and learn from our guests what success is all about. For more information, follow us at To Align Your Mind and Your Heart. I know it's not easy. It's not easy because sometimes you feel it, but you have the feelings sometimes you don't deserve. Maybe you don't know how to do it, you don't have the resources, but there is a way to achieve that. And to talk more about that, we have today a very special guest. We have our friend Tinkerbell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really quite an honor to be here because it's very rare that I speak about myself. I'm always speaking about what I do, and those are two different things.
Totally
different
but at the same time, they go together because who you are allows you to do what you do.
Absolutely. You know, I think about being a child. Everybody has their own idea of childhood and how they felt when they were little. And my sister and I have different versions of what our childhood was like. But we're both survivors of the Holocaust. I was born in 45 in April, and the war was over in May, June of 1945. So I was still a survivor of the Holocaust. And my parents incredibly survived, but our entire family was killed, exterminated. So that's the beginning of a life that changes you.
Yes.
Like everything else, everything changes you. But how it changes you is up to you.
Yes.
So things in your life will happen.
Yes.
You cannot prevent hurricanes, you cannot prevent people killing each other. And I really believe that there's always going to be enemies. We're never going to have world peace. But it sounds like I'm a pessimist when I say that. But knowing that allows me to know that I have some potential ability to make my world better.
Yes.
Whatever it was that happened to us, to my family, I had no grandparents, I had no uncles or aunts, I had no cousins. You know, I grew up in a different world than when we moved to Germany. And in Germany, I lived in a DP camp in a box of 200 people with bars on my window.
Wow.
And I remember that from a year and a half old until 5. But then, you know, one day I remember being on a television show, and somebody said to me, "What is your name?" And I just about passed out because I had to say, Pasula Rosenfarb. And I was so embarrassed to say that in Bolivia, because I was in a TV show in Bolivia. And I said, and I was 10 years old. And I wanted to cry because I was embarrassed of my name. I was embarrassed that I was chubby. I actually peed in my pants.
Wow.
From nerves. So that's how little I thought about myself. And then I decided that's not the world I want to live in. We don't choose where we live with children, but we choose what world we put around ourselves. And I said, I'm always embarrassed. I'm always shy. I don't speak Portuguese very well. I don't speak Spanish very well. I said, I just want to get better at things. I want to get good at it. I don't want to be in front of people and be embarrassed of my name. So it's interesting that I'm called Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody should be embarrassed, it should be me being embarrassed, because I was named that by a minister when I was already later in my life. But the truth is that when I decided to fight to become successful on the outside, you first have to be successful on the inside. You have to believe it. You can't just fake it. So I said, what can I do? Well, my parents said, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a dancer? Do you want to be a singer? Do you want to play piano? I said, I want to do all of them. And my mom put me in classes, even though we had no money. I don't know how she did it, but I was in classes, and I know I did it for free because I couldn't afford it. My parents couldn't afford it. But I started doing the things that I knew were going to make me feel better about myself. And I lost weight, and I started exercising, and I started learning about food. And one day I woke up, and I looked in the mirror, and I went, hey girl, you look pretty damn good.
I love myself.
I really liked, even though I still was critical, you know, I'm fixing my hair, I'm doing this, but I was glad of how I looked, what I had become. Then I liked who my friends were. That was in Brazil. I was already in Brazil. I was already 14, 13. And I said, oh my God, I think I'm going to fit into Brazil. Now, Brazil is made up of, I know people don't know this, African Americans and Spaniards
Yeah.
and Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
how we
it's a
speak
big mix,
Portuguese.
yeah.
That's how we speak Portuguese. And Japanese, a very large percentage of
I
Japanese.
didn't know that.
I know people don't know that about Brazil. So I grew up in a very mixed society, and a lot of my friends were African American. Well, at that time, African Brazilian. Some of them moved to America, African Brazilian, but they didn't call themselves African Brazilian. They called themselves African. And we wore these white, beautiful clothes, and we'd run into the ocean, and we'd be doing these prayers, and these prayers were all African prayers. And then I come home and show them to my mom and my dad, and she goes, "What is that?" But not critical.
Yeah.
So I made my world be very expansive to encompass everything I saw and who I met, and made myself popular. Because I was not popular. And being popular means you're accepted, in my head. So when I first came to America, once again, down. Couldn't speak the language.
Beginnings again.
And I looked really weird. Really, I was wearing bobby socks, you know, and I was wearing tight clothes. It was terrible. It was terrible how we dressed. When I look back, my hair was not like American hair. And I used to look at American mothers, and I said, "Oh my God, they wear this high, thin heels in America and tight pants." And it's so weird because in South America, once you become a mother,
Yeah.
you gain a little weight because you were pregnant,
Yeah.
and you wear looser clothes. So once again, I was adjusting to America, and my friends were terrible. We would go babysitting, and they'd be stealing things out of drawers.
Oh, no.
And I came home and I said to my mom, "I'm probably not being a good person because I'm attracting bad people." So that was the beginning of my realizing that who you bring into your life
Come from within.
is going to come to make your feelings about yourself worthwhile. If you grow up in a neighborhood where you make your friends the drug dealers and the people that commit crimes, you're going to become a criminal. And I said, I know for sure that I need to make my life to be exemplary. I want my friends to be proud of me, and I want to be proud of them. So I started bringing friends into my life that I felt very confident people would like and would respect and would admire. So then the words respect and admire started coming into my life. Not until I was 14. I didn't understand those words. My mom and dad talked about it all the time. You need to be with people. So can you relate to that? That if you choose people you respect and admire, that you're being admired too, because that's who you're choosing. You know, we're in the same circle. You're always attracting who you are.
Yes, yes. And I love what you said about that you realize maybe I'm not being a good person because I'm not attracting good people. So that's a really good check on yourself, because if you're not getting what you want, then there is a moment for you to change something, to start attracting something different. But that awareness is key. I think that is important.
That is the key, but then you have to have a lot of patience.
Yes.
Because being who you are that you don't like to becoming who you want to be
Oh, there is a long way. It takes time. Yeah.
and that's what happens.
Today we're having a conversation with Dr. Myron Davis. Dr. Myron, tell me something. What happened on those days when things get difficult, that you get challenged? How can you approach those kind of days?
Well, one thing that I like to do is attack each day with a positive mindset. I often have this expression that life is going to hit you like a ton of bricks. When life hits you like a ton of bricks, you take those bricks, you use those bricks to build everything that you desire. When life hits you like a ton of bricks, realize that you are the architect and you have the blueprint. And sometimes you need a moment to breathe, to regroup, to reorganize, to re-strategize, to rethink. And then you come back to that. You come back to those bricks, and you can build and construct everything and anything that you desire.
Yeah, I love that image, because I also believe in that. That is, we are the creators of our life, and it's not what is happening, but how you are reacting to what is happening. Because as you say,
Yes.
they throw you bricks. You can say, "Oh no, this is harmful for me," or you can say, "Oh wow, I have now the ingredients to build my house, to do something different, right? To create."
Right. And those are what I call the building blocks to success. Any success story is going to have its challenges. And when you rise above those challenges and you take those building blocks of success and you lay your foundation, you will find that you will come out on top. And so many people have the ability to build whatever it is that they desire, whether it's a house, whether it's a mansion, whether it's whatever type of edifice that you can think of. You have the ability to build that. And those bricks are indication that you are prepared to build.
Yeah. Do you think that challenges will stop at some point? Or those are part of the growing process?
I don't think that challenges will stop, but I think the response and reaction to those challenges can change and shift. And if you have a transformative mind frame, then you can respond to those challenges differently. And you'll see them as opportunities, as we just had an opportunity to look at perception. And those opportunities will make you the best version of yourself.
Totally, totally. I believe that because many people ask me, right, in my line of work, I'm a coach, so they ask me, when this will stop? I mean, challenge after challenge. I say, well, that's part of life. It's like, I always compare it to the ocean, right? You go to the ocean and you have the waves, right? Some waves are big, some waves are small. But you don't stop enjoying your time at the beach. You know, well, it's coming. Let's brace myself and wait, and then a small one come, and then you just enjoy life. It's just to understand that challenges are part of life, and as you said, you will change your response based on experience and your lessons, right? Because you say, oh, I saw this before. I know what to do. So let me use that experience from before to make this challenge even better.
Exactly. And using your analogy, if there's a wave that seems to be too big or something that you are having difficulties facing, you can turn to your resources. And so often we need to turn to our resources, and those resources can actually be other people, and individuals that can aid us and guide us on the way, mentors, guru-like figures that will light the way on the path, and they will aid you with those larger waves until you're prepared to handle them alone if need be.
Yes. Totally. That sense of community and to be able to ask for help is also part of being successful, because you have to be willing to say, I need help. How do you see this situation? Have you experienced this before? How do you handle this? What can I learn from this? Yeah.
Exactly. And I've had opportunities to have those very deep mentorships and guidance that have been beneficial to me along this way and on this path. No one can get to the level of a PhD without some form of guidance or mentor, counselor. And so many people have poured into me, and it's important for others to realize that success is going to be dependent upon those whom you surround yourself with in your inner circle, in your interpersonal circles that will aid you to success.
Totally. And part of that inner circle, as you say, there are people, but I also believe that is the information that you digest. So there is any book or something that you say, look, this is awesome, it changed my life, it gives me a different perception, that you can recommend?
Sure. One book in particular that's been beneficial to me is Leading with Soul. It speaks about the inner journey and moving forward on the path of life, but it also makes sure that you understand that you are that source and you have to go within yourself. So often individuals are looking outside for someone else or something to happen outside of themselves. But it is very much so an inner experience and understanding what is in soul, what is in your heart, and how will that come forward. One of the benefits of looking at leadership and understanding the power of leadership is looking at your desire to serve. The desire to serve has to precede the desire to lead. And that's going to be so important as you look on your inner journey. Where do you desire to serve? And you'll begin to find answers. I found that book to be very enlightening, and it's an excellent read.
Amazing. So when you say leading with the soul, how do you apply that in your daily life, a practical way?
Sure. When you're leading with soul, for me, I understand what is at my source, right? So that means I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And when I realize that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, I'm going to go to that source. What is within me? I believe that I'm a child of God, and I believe that I take time to meditate, to use meditative techniques, balanced breathing. I have an opportunity to place my hands on my laps and breathe softly, deeply, rhythmically. And I take in those moments to see the thoughts and the beauty that the day has for me. And it should be a daily experience. We should have this time where we recognize our soul in the same fashion that we nourish our bodies. And it is the most essential thing that we can give our time and attention to.
So, for somebody who is new in this nurturing of the soul, right? We are used to nurture the body. What will be the first step that you can recommend?
Well, the first step I would say is to begin to analyze your body. When I utilize my meditative techniques, I analyze the entire body, the physical body, starting at my feet, rising to my legs, to my knees, to my thighs. You go to your generative organs, to your abdomen, your chest. Evaluate the arms, the hands, the neck, and the face. See where there's any stress or discord. And then I focus on my spiritual body. And I begin to visualize and imagine the light above me. And that light that is above me, I let it descend within me. And I begin to illuminate my entire being. And I eradicate any form of stress and anxieties or the likes. And in that quiet space, I begin to hear the answers. And that's what the meditative time does for me. So I hope that is a starting place and a place where people can begin to analyze themselves and their lives. See, why is it that there's this cramp in your foot? Which foot is it? Is it the left foot? Is it the right foot? But begin to see that pain dissipate. Begin to register the light after you've swept through the entire being to ensure that you're just not carrying a load that's preventing you from operating at your 100% wattage.
Excellent. I love it because it's simple. It was really, guided. So if somebody wants to do it, it's super simple. It doesn't take long time. It just takes awareness, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes that's
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
so that's amazing. But how do you do that in the day-to-day activities? There is any tool, any habit, any ritual that you practice?
I am not the type of the discipline person. I'm
Good,
not the
good. Sorry,
disciplined mind.
parenthesis there. So you see, you don't have to have a full discipline to be able to be successful and to achieve things. It's all about knowing yourself. Good. Continue.
Yes. So I always struggled with waking up super early and doing the meditation every day and doing everything. And that is something that many times kept me out of even doing it at all. So what I started to do is what keeps me moving. I love meditating. I love doing yoga. I love working out. I love hanging out with friends. I love riding my motorbike. There's so many things that I love to do. I only have 24 hours in a day. I love sleeping. So I only have so much time. So I really, one of my goals is just do what you love. It doesn't matter if it is every day at 6 a.m. because for some people it works, but for some people it's so challenging to always have a routine and maintain it. And I am one of those people. And I find myself very successful because I enjoy so much everything that I have to do. And I am able to sneak in my yoga, my workout, my meditation. I just keep an agenda that I think that does keep me going, and it is very good. So I have a little booklet where I put when I meditated, what meditation I did, when I worked out, and that a little bit helps me to keep on track.
Excellent, excellent. I believe in that agenda aspect because when you look back, you see that you really have progress and that you really are doing the things, maybe in a different schedule than other people, but you are doing and you are moving forward, and that's rewarding and empowering. Like you say, okay, I'm moving. So I also use that technique because I'm the same. I'm not an early bird. I don't like to have that. I do it, but I don't do it all the time at the same time. So it's really good. I understand what you say about the agenda. That's very, very good.
And sometimes it's and this resonated as Master Mary Lag. For the people that may not know her, she's one of the 8 master pranic healers in the world. And I don't remember if it was to her or to Master Glenn in a conversation that he's another of the 8 master pranic healers. And I asked, do you meditate every day? Like, do you do all the practices? The arhatic, the this, the that? And the answer was, what I practice every day are the virtues.
Because those are the pillars, the foundation for you to become a better person, right?
Absolutely, and many times that is more important. It's as when you're watching your diet. Is it more important what you bring inside of your body if you're vegetarian, vegan, or you eat meat or fish, or what comes out of your mouth? Or how do you nurture yourself? Many times, no, we put so much effort trying to maintain things that are not as important, and we lose sight of those that really are. So sometimes some people are like, oh, I didn't do my meditation, I didn't do my yoga, and they're so strict with themselves that they are forgetting to be loving and kind. And that is
themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, because everything starts with yourself, right? Sometimes we are really good in projecting those virtues, loving, kindness, generous to other people, but when you look at yourself, you are not that to yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Mindset for Success show. Here we are with our guest, Media Joy. Thank you for being here again. Now, Media, what is success for you?
Success for me is showing up as my highest self, no matter what I do, whether it's going to the store, right? Whether it's just going downstairs and talking to a neighbor or going to work, but it is showing up as the person who's worthy to receive, as a person who is connected to this divine universal love consciousness that remembers. You know, I think because a lot of the times I forget, and that's why for me success is literally the moments when I remember and when I really feel it.
You make a big change, right? I always said that, you know, the most amazing thing that you can bring into a room is your attitude.
Yeah.
And that's something that we can control, or we try to, you know, to put the intention. And when you say be your higher self, that's what it means. You be you and bring that happiness wherever you go. So amazing. Yes, good. And to achieve that, what kind of habits do you create for yourself?
So I will be honest with you. I've tried different, all different kinds of habits. And I think for me personally, the simplest ones are the ones that I incorporate into my everyday lifestyle. And they're also the ones that whenever I fall off and I come back to the work, you know, because it is a spiritual muscle, like with any other muscle, right? We go to the gym to get the physical muscle, but it is a spiritual muscle too. It needs time to develop and commitment and exercise. So anytime I feel like I have fallen off and I come back, it's always to the simpler tools, where it would be maybe just putting my hand on my heart, just as simple as that, and just listening to my own heartbeat for a couple of seconds, and just giving gratitude and grace for this heart, beautiful heart beating for me without me having to do anything, you know, or just breath, like being aware of our breath, right? So those are the really simple tools, And you don't need to have anything around you. It's just literally working
Connecting with yourself,
yeah.
and to be grateful about everything that we have that sometimes we take for granted, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, showing gratitude for the small things, for really, just like, oh, this coffee today, just, just sending love to it and feeling, I guess, the love from whoever made the coffee, but just being really present and aware of, it is a privilege for me to be here today. Like, I don't take that for granted. I think our time on this beautiful planet in these bodies it's like a blip. And if we can, during that time, meet amazing people and enjoy this life and actually contribute to a bigger purpose and impact the world in a positive way, I feel like that's a win.
Yeah, totally.
So, but it's always the simple tools, always the simple tools. It's always hand on my heart, allow myself to breathe. And a lot of the times I also do journaling. So that's something every morning I will just start. And I know, I wasn't always an avid journaler, but if you just start, you don't know where it will go. And I just started, a lot of the times I will just say, thank you, God, for this breath, or thank you for this moment. And it just,
And then it flows.
Yeah.
It flows. And it's really, it helps you to release, it helps you to appreciate, it helps you to be present, which is so important. Yes.
It always helps me come back to my heart. And that's one thing I noticed, that the more I can keep my heart open throughout the day, the more magic there is.
Yeah.
So I want to, now that I have learned that, I try to keep my heart as open as possible to experience this magic, because it is so much fun. And I can sit here and say, but it's a life full of joy and meaning when you can have those moments and appreciate every little thing. And I am by no means that I'm saying right now that every day this is how I show up, but this is how I want to show up, and this is how I intend to show up. So I do a lot of work for that.
Yeah, and everything starts with an intention.
Yeah.
As long as you have the intention, you will get closer to that,
Yes.
right? So you already are putting yourself into that state, and then, well, the day will pass by. Some days we have ups and downs, but you are there. Thanks for watching the Mindset for Success show. Join us every Thursday at 11 a.m. to learn how to master your mind and achieve success in every area of your life.